All right, everyone. Welcome to another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. It's Friday, and I'm so happy that Alan's back. You know, I was thinking he didn't like me anymore, but now he's here, and we've got a special guest today. It's our good friend Marcia Derryberry. So, how you doing, Marcia?
I'm awesome. Hi, everybody. Hi, friends out there. It is so great to be back. Did y'all miss me?
We always miss you, Marcia. Come on.
We did. Yeah, me too. I mean, I feel like, Marshall, I've been gone for what? It's been 3 weeks. Counting
10 years.
Yeah, and it feels like, am I new at this? Do I know what I'm doing?
Well, hold on. Do you know what you're doing?
Have we ever known what we're doing after
no, we don't know what we're
70
doing.
shows or close to? What show number is this?
Like 1 million? I don't know.
No, I thought it was
185.
Like 184.
This is 185. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
185, 184. You know, it's all ball bearings now. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Still don't know what we're doing, but yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So if you're watching right now, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. We would really love it if you would drop a comment and say hi. We want to know where you're watching from. We want to know, everything about you. Okay. But here's the thing. This is a Q&A show. So we've got Marcia on today, and we're all about questions, right? So you have a question, we have an answer. So make sure you throw those in, okay? And maybe you've got a question that Marcia doesn't answer because it's about screen tension or something. That's fine. We'll tackle that. And maybe we'll get Marcia to see if she learned anything in her, her years of experience in the industry. She probably knows more than us because she's been responsible for a lot of articles and stuff. I bet she knows more than she lets on. So
all of us. Yeah.
Maybe. I know a lot about a lot of things, a little about a lot of things, and I have a lot to learn. Because what I love about this industry is it's always changing, emerging, evolving, reinventing. What started with screen printing and heat transfer kiosks on the beach, and then retail stores. We all remember T-Shirts Plus with the transfer and the kitten chasing the butterfly.
Oh yeah.
And to see where it's come with digital.
I was going to wear that shirt today.
Yeah. So anyway,
it's in your closet right next to your Hello Kitty shirt, Marshall.
Yeah, and go easy on me on the technical questions, friends out there, because as Johnny Carson used to say, don't stump the band. And I know I'm aging myself.
That's okay. When that happens, Marshall and I just make stuff up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we got some folks that are logging in. So we say hi. So Cindy's here as always. Good morning, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
A fellow Texan here, by the way, Marcia.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Christine says, so great to see Marcia. So pleased about the new gig. That's awesome. Hey, Christine. Christine, you need to come on the show. How come you haven't been on the show?
She's been on. It's just been a long time. We need to have her on.
Greg's here. Good morning, gang.
Mr. Kitson.
Simon says, good morning, gents. And my awesome friend, Marcia.
Yeah.
Greg, Marcia knows who knows everything we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray says, good morning, Marcia, and you two other dudes. Hey,
Ray.
Sean says, hey, Marcia, great to see you. Oh, hi, and Alan and Marshall.
I see you're taking the back seat to me, which really is great for my ego.
Yeah. Ruben says, hi. Beppy's here. Hey. Ciao, Marcia.
From Italy.
Kim's here. Good morning.
Hi, Kim.
Lon's here. Can't miss Marcia.
Lonnie.
Yep. And Ruben says happy Friday.
From Illinois.
Hi, Ruben.
All right. So that brings us up to date. And here's what I want to do real quick, Alan, is I want to get the commercial out of the way. And then let's roll that video. And then I got to find it here. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about Marcia and what's going on. How about that?
Sounds great.
That's great.
All right, here we go.
Over the last 70 years, GSG has seen many changes in the apparel decorating industry. But one thing that hasn't changed is our dedication to helping our customers discover what's next. As we continue to lead the industry, GSG is here to support your business with industry experts. The latest innovative products, training services, and by delivering the perfect order.
All right, we're back. So, Marcia, you weren't dancing?
I was, but you weren't supposed to tell anybody.
By the way, on that video, there was somebody answering the phone there who looked just like you. Was that your doppelganger?
Probably. I saw Mark Granberry and Mark's Holodonic, so.
Yeah.
Right. So, by the way, look, Alan. So Christine says, "Hey, let's be on the show." So we'll get that figured out, okay, Christine?
Absolutely.
We'll have you on, right? Glenn's here.
Hi,
Say,
Glenn.
ladies and gents, good to see you, Marcia. And then Ray says, "Hey." So, all right. So, I want to lead the discussion today with a story, right?
Okay.
So,
But I get a story after you. I have a story.
Alan and Marcia doesn't know what the story is because I haven't told them. But long time ago, in 2011, so what was that? 12 years ago, right?
Mhm.
I had just lost my job, and I had reached out to the Orlando ISS show, and I reached out to Greg Kitson about, hey, I want to write for the magazines. And I know you do. Can you meet me for a cup of coffee? So he meets me for coffee, and we talk about some stuff. And he goes, well, let's see what you can do. Let me introduce you to the gang over here at Impressions. And he walked me over to the booth, and Greg introduced me to you and to Jamar. And, and you said, I don't know if you remember this, but I said, hey, I want to write for you. And you go, well, have you ever written anything? I go, no, just college term papers. So I always got an A on them. And she goes, well, why don't you write an article? And if we like it, we'll put it in. Right. and then I don't know how many hundreds of articles I've written for Impressions since then, but it started with you just saying, hey, we'll give this kid a shot. Right. Mm-hmm. And do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it happened with so many writers over the years with Impressions, going back years ago to that magazine started in 1977, and during the 80s, people who were young, I'm a little long in the tooth, so no offense, friends, but, started young through Carl Piazza, one of the founding editors of Impressions, got so many people their start in writing and speaking. Yep. And so many of you have gone on from being printers or production leads at big print shops to now being consultants, educators, coaches, and are lending so much expertise to the industry. And that is so appreciated.
Yeah, it was just a fun thing, right? It's like, you haven't ever done it, but that's okay. We'll just do it. And and here's the thing is, for a long time, I never got a writing assignment from Jamar. Who was my editor, right? And he would just, like, you guys would just publish whatever I thought up, right?
You're
good. and so it was so much fun, right? And now here's the thing is so fun is you're going to be my editor again at screenprinting, right? And by the way, you're my fourth editor in that magazine. So
really? Did you start with Steve or Tom?
Steve. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, and I have to tell you, writers like you, and there's so many others that come up with their own ideas, is great, because I've been in the industry so long, and try coming up with topics about T-shirt decorating over and over again for every month. It gets a little challenging. So
right.
I know now, of all the articles I've written, I have never written for Screenprint magazine.
Well, welcome in. I'm coming.
It's about to change, I bet.
I'm sure it has. I think I know somebody there now, and it's not.
It's all about who you know.
But my Marcia story is on speaking at Impressions. So I had written for another publication out of Denver, is how I started, and had 4 or 5 there. And I was speaking at some other places or something like that, and maybe some smaller venues. And Marcia, you and I were sitting on a couch at an Impressions show. The 2 regular guys had just started. It was their first year, and they were doing it live there, and they had like guests lined up. And I remember Aaron came by. He goes, hey, can you be at our booth at an hour? You get 5 minutes on live. Done. I'm there. Sitting next to Marcia. I'd never met her before. I knew who she was, and we're talking. And she just looks at me. She goes, "How come you're not speaking here for us?" And my response was, "How come I've never been asked?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know there was a call to speakers and stuff. She
Yeah.
goes, "Get ready." And next thing you know, there it is.
Yeah. I get my claws in you, and then you can't get away from me.
Well, you know what? And I was so scared. My first impressions it was a seminar on bleeding and dye migration, but you had me, and Rick Davis was doing one also on the same thing. And I remember
as like different rooms or on the same thing?
Different times, different rooms, but it was such a huge topic at the time. There was low cure ink was so new and stuff. But I called and I'm like, "Rick, did you see this?" And I called Marcia, and you guys said, "Yeah, we're fine. Don't worry about it." Okay. Made sure with Rick, we're on the same page and stuff. But I was so scared because it was my first time. Rick is an Academy member. I remember working with Rick when he was with Wilflex at the time. And I was so scared because this is the big show. This is Impressions at Long Beach. And, of course, I had friends like Rob Coleman and stuff like that going, "We're going to come in and make animal noises." And I said, "I wish you would." They've never seen me nervous like that.
Yeah.
But man, everybody was so encouraging. But that was also the show I met Marshall at too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. No, I remember when I first started doing panel moderations and stuff like that, I would get hives. I would lose my train of thought. It was ridiculous. But now you can't shut me up.
Well, it was still funny because that class, I get an email, on Instant Messenger going, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but he said he's down in, south of Long Beach and stuff on there." And it's a guy I went to elementary school with. He ended up marrying the sister of one of my friends and stuff. And so he comes in the class. "I'm not signed up." And I go, "I think I can get you in. I just left his name." And it was so weird, from being in fourth grade together.
Small world.
Yeah, that's great.
Hang on, we can't get started because look at this errant hair. Oh, it's on this side.
Yeah.
It won't go
Nobody
down.
cares about your hair, Marcia.
Yeah, you're talking to guys. I'm losing my hair so fast. I'm just jealous you have it. So
you guys have a gift by losing your hair. It's a very expensive habit.
Is that what it is? It's a gift?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, all right. So we got some comments. Let's throw them in here. So Cal says, "Good morning."
Hey, Cal. See you in Long Beach.
Greg says, "Long time ago." Yeah, it was a long time ago. Christine says, "It's amazing how many editors started careers. Marcia and other editors like Nicole gave so many of us opportunities." Yeah, Nicole's great, by the way.
Great person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think between Nicole and Deborah Sexton, I've been interviewed by those two women, I don't know, probably 300 times. I just like that. Frank says, "Good morning."
Good morning, Frank.
How you doing, Frank?
And all right. And Christine says, "Don't feel bad, Alan. I've never written for Screenprinting magazine either."
Yeah.
There you go, Marcia. Another one.
Actually, we'll talk about where we're going with screen printing, but we will be covering embroidery and digitizing and the marketing topics in those arenas a little bit more next year. So Christine, definitely I'm coming for you too.
Yeah, great. And Greg says, "Try some straight back."
Greg.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, this leads us into, what's our topic on what Marcia's doing, the new gig. And we've not really said what the new gig is.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, because that's the second topic is the new gig. So Marcia, why don't you just talk about your career, right? Like, how did you even get into being at Impressions magazine? Like, what happened? How did you get, somehow you landed in this circus, right? And, and you fell in love with all the clowns, and I'm calling them clowns, affectionately. So
carnies. We're just carnies there in Montgomery.
Or animals, like maybe, or our clowns or animals. I don't know, but we're in the circus, right? So how did you get into this? Like, just walk us back way long ago, or, maybe last year, right? Whatever.
Okay. Well, my dad has a PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford, and then my grandfather was a chemist for Pennzoil for years. So I come from a long line of intellect and would like to think some of those smarts rubbed off on me, but I don't have an analytical mind at all. So in high school, I found journalism because English and writing came very easy to me, and I knew immediately that was the direction I wanted to head. So my college degree is from, at the time it was called Southwest Texas State University.
Mhm.
It's now Texas State University. I graduated in 1988 with a major in journalism, concentration in magazines, and then a minor in French. So I did this triangle, living out of my car and different friends' houses in Houston, Austin, and Dallas, looking for a job, and found one that said that was back when you got jobs out of the newspaper, and it said, senior editor needed, 1515 Broadway, New York, New York. Well, I don't know what I was thinking being a magazine journalism major, because Dallas isn't exactly a publishing hub, but I never had dreams of going to LA and writing for People magazine out of New York City or anything like that. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And I knew that I was not qualified for that because I was just a beginning writer at the time. But I applied for it. I said, what the heck? Well, it turns out they had a Dallas office with impressions with an assistant editor position open. And I got the job. And I remember when I saw the magazine, it was like the size of a phone book. Because that's back in the day before the wholesaler consolidation and people like A&G and South Carolina Teas and All Style, they were all running their entire catalogs within the pages, perfect bound of the magazine.
Yep.
So I get this thing and think it's a catalog. I had no idea what was going on. But I got hired and I started for the first 3 years back in the day. We had very deep editorial teams. I mean, we had from 6 to 9 people at times over the years. And so you wrote press releases, rewrote them for product releases for about 3 years. You couldn't travel, didn't get to go to the shows. So I hung in there and did that and just kind of worked my way up to associate editor, senior editor. And then in 2001, our dear friend Deborah Sexton, who's one of my mentors, we got bought by VNU, and they laid off 120 people, and 5 of us had the option to transfer to the Atlanta office. And so Deborah decided not to go and start her own gig, which has been incredibly successful. And she's such a help to the industry. I decided to go. And so when I got there, it was really cool because I thought I was going as senior editor, which was my current position. But I got there and they gave me a private window office and my nameplate was there and it said Marcia Derryberry, editor-in-chief impressions. They hadn't even told me about it. And so I was thrilled. So moved to Atlanta, took over as editor-in-chief.
Started working for Lori, right?
Well, no, Lori retired in March last year. This is Lori Gons, the publisher.
Yep. Right.
She's retired now, but she ended her career with 40 years with Impressions.
Wow.
Oh.
And Janine Morgan, who was senior account executive when she finished her career, she's retired now too. She'd been there 33 years. She and I actually were hired on the first day, October 3rd, 1988. And lost our jobs on the same day. So
oh my gosh,
we're the best of friends, the 3 of us. We were just cackling on the phone for 2 hours the other night. And so they, with so many colleagues over the years, really helped build some incredible brands through ISS and Impressions. And so it's just been a really fun ride. So since I lost my job during the pandemic, I was a casualty of that. And that was in the summer of 2020. I decided to go out on my own like Deborah and Nicole did and start Marcia Derryberry Media Communications. And so I've been doing freelance for not only suppliers and manufacturers, but also larger decorators doing newsletters, press releases, blogs, whatever people needed me to do. So I've been doing that, kind of plugging along, went to the shows. So I've never left the industry. In fact, 2024 will start my 36th year in this industry as an editor. And so I was plugging along. And then last month, out of the blue, the executives from Smart Work Media, which owns Big Picture and Screen Printing magazine, came to me with some discussions about an opportunity available to be editor-in-chief of both of those esteemed publications. So once I was offered the job, I jumped at the chance because to be back in the industry at an editorial position where I could help work with a dynamic team to guide some brands in their continued success and then help elevate them to the next level was so incredibly intriguing to me because I've got about 10 to 15 years left before my butt's on a beach with a margarita. And I was like,
you probably do that now already. Come on.
Well, little known secret, I've been known to. But I would love to retire and say my entire career was in this industry because when you're a magazine journalist specifically, it's a very niched career. But then when you choose an industry you want to be in, like printing, there's about 5 jobs in the entire country. We all know each other. We're great friends and nobody goes anywhere. So I didn't think anything else like this would ever come along. So I was just so thrilled at the opportunity and I thank them so much. So going forward, starting Monday is my first day. I will be editor-in-chief of both Screen Printing Magazine and Big Picture Magazine, which covers wide format digital printing. So I've got a little bit to learn in that side of the industry because I do specialize in apparel decorating, screen printing, digital sublimation, embroidery, digitizing, those types of things. But we've got great editorial advisory boards on both publications, as well as something called the Brain Squad, which I encourage everybody to go to both websites. There's a huge big tab where you are invited to join them. We survey those groups every 3 months to get story ideas, opinions about where the directions magazines, where the magazines are going. And so those are going to be a huge help for me in getting started because I've got to learn all new processes and hopefully bring on some new ones if it streamlines production and makes things a little bit easier on everybody. But got to check with the bosses first and see what works and the sales team and what would be a good direction procedural wise to take things. There's the Brain Squad. Yeah.
Yep. Just click right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And really exciting. And so along the way, Marcia, what's been like, you've seen this industry evolve and go ups and downs and all the craziness that we talk about all the time. Like what's been your kind of like favorite thing that you learned, or this you couldn't believe it when this came out, or what kind of story, because you've been covering all this, right? So what do what's kind of like your take on us, because we know who we are, but what do you think who we are?
Yeah, well, screen printing and embroidery so huge in the 90s and 2000s. Then we saw the consolidation of companies starting at the wholesaler level and then the manufacturing level, and it kind of shrunk. But when DTG came on the scene with digital printing, and gosh, has it been 20 years now or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget, we were at SGIA, the old Printing United, and Kornit was the only one there doing it in addition to Scott Fresner with US Screen Print, School of Screen Printing, I think we called it. Yeah. The name of it, Scott or Malachi, if you're on, correct me, or Aaron or Terry.
It was US Print, and then they had the school. Screen Printing.
Yeah. So they were the only two doing it. And I remember at the time, Kornit called it DOG, direct on garment. Yep. And all they had was a print they were running of a Dalmatian, and the color was horrible and the washability was terrible. And we were all like, is this going to work? And to see where that has evolved over the last 20 years, I mean, it's just amazing. And now with DTF, I won't say in its infancy because it's been around about 3 years, but if you go to a show or talk to some decorators, because the decorators, so many of them aren't just screen printers or just embroiderers, or they're all inclusive with sublimation, digital printing, heat transfers. And so it's important to keep up with, like I said, this is an evolving industry, always reinventing itself, right, which is why it'll always be around. And that's been one of the great things, even through the pandemic. T-shirts won't ever go away. Neither will on the wide format end of things, billboards, sign, digital imaging for interior displays, things like that. So it's been great to get to see how the industry evolved, and then how we can take the publications to evolve with it, with technical trend, important information to help decorators succeed. Because at the end of the day, that's my goal. I used to say, those who are doing smart business stay in business. And that always rang true until the pandemic. And unfortunately, so many decorators had to go out of business. So many people on the supplier end lost their jobs, and so moved on to different things. A lot became consultants and coaches and educators, but also other ones got jobs at other companies. And so, a lot of people had staying power, stuck in there, and they're successful again. One of the challenges everybody faces these days, obviously, is the internet, with print on demand, online stores, Amazon. It's not just your local community, 5 screen printers in town wanting Joe's Bar and Grill in the schools and the municipalities. You've got to deal with that competition, but also what's going on online. So we try to, and we'll be trying to cover all of those facets, talk about people's successes, but also their challenges, how they're getting through it with their workflow, reduced staffs. So many of them too, when they had to scale back, if they didn't shut down during COVID, had to scale back and unfortunately lay off long-term employees, whether they be folders or production people or whatever. And so they learned to do some kind of lean manufacturing in a way and do a lot more with less. So, you know, it's sustained. That's
what I do.
It's sustained. And so, you know, we're back.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what's exciting is for you, Marcia, is doing both the big picture and Screen Print Magazine is the convergence part of it. You and I were talking when we first heard you were going there. We had a conversation. I said, you know, we forget of how many screen print shops where they might be apparel decorators, but they all have a wide format printer of some sort. And then there are companies that are normally large graphic screen printers with large wide format. But the convergence is there where one we mentioned actually is huge and well known. And then their company across the street is their textile. They have multiple automatics and stuff. So that convergence is great. And I'm looking forward to help introduce you to these people and just bring that convergence.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And in fact, ISA and Printing United, there's a lot of people. I'll be in ISS or Impressions Expo Long Beach. And a lot of people bring their wide format, you know, Epson and Roland bring their wide format stuff. So I'm going to be, I know a lot of people, but there's so many bright young minds out there with a lot of technical and trend information to share. And those are some of the people I want to bring on as writers, but also pick their brain on really what the process is, where it's going, the diversity of it. And there is, you know, some crossover, like you said. Screen Printing Magazine caters to everybody from the smaller decorator, printer, I use the word decorator because so many of them are all encompassing now.
Correct.
But the smaller one to the large contract people who are doing band merch or retail brands on a contract basis and things like that. So it's a matter of speaking to a very wide and diverse audience.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So let's get some comments here real quick. And so Ray says, screen printing, the carny of big business.
We're like carnies. You know, we go from, especially you start teaching on the circuit and we just go from show to show and we speak and we're like carnies.
Cindy says, are you originally from Texas? San Marcos is just a quick drive from where she lives in New Braunfels.
New Braunfels, yes. And you'll love this. Grew up in Houston, went to school in San Marcos, which is where Texas State University is, with big dreams of going on to the University of Texas in Austin, which was 30 minutes up the road, although she'll tell you that now it takes 3.5 hours to get there because of traffic. But I was there from 85 to 88 when I graduated. And I was thinking in 86, I wanted to move on to UT, but unfortunately in 86, Southwest Texas State University was ranked in the top 10 Playboy party schools in the nation. So I couldn't tear myself away. Never ended up at UT.
So Florida State, where I went.
Yeah, Florida State. You were number 1. I think we were number 8 or something.
Oh, man, I had such a good time in college.
Yeah, I did too. I think it's worth the social experience, if nothing else. It really helps you grow as a person.
Right.
I'm the only good person at that age.
Ray says, congratulations, Marcia. It's where you belong. Also, great article in the last issue.
Oh, thank you.
205 Minneapolis.
All right, Greg, we're not that old.
Yeah. 2005.
That would be BC, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And Mike says, what's cool about you guys have forgotten more than some people know. The knowledge base is unlimited. I don't know about unlimited.
Unlimited.
We're still learning, Mike.
Every year, it's an ever, and that's the hardest thing. It's an ever learning process of that's what do I say? It's why I hang out with Richard Greaves. I just want to know the stuff he's forgotten, and then I'm way ahead.
Right? Yeah, Richard, if you're watching, I'm coming for you.
Richard is traveling this week. Yeah. He's in New Jersey, so I'm not sure.
Well, hopefully he'll watch the archive.
What happened to Greg? He keeps. What happened to Alan? He keeps jumping out. So Cindy says the consolidation of some of the major vendors have really hurt the industry. During consolidation, many vendors just closed their doors. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Cal says, not to mention supply cost. Mark says, hey, Marcia, so glad you're back at it. I just sent you my list. Great.
Oh, thank you. I've been bugging people the last 2 weeks for story ideas.
Chris says, good morning, everyone. A little late to the party today. That's okay. Yep. You should get him to write an article about high density, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool.
Silicone high density he's doing.
Yeah.
He's
all right. I'm not taking notes because I want to look at the camera, but y'all have to remind me of that.
Yeah. Glenn says, Alan, don't forget all the cut sheet companies that added DTG in wide format.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
okay, good topic.
Frank says, Houston, I knew there's a reason I liked you.
Well, yeah, Frank, I grew up in Houston in Kingwood, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Back in the day, my dad, when we left San Francisco, because my parents had us very young, and so we lived in married housing till I was about 6, and he got a job with Shell Oil in Houston in 72 during the oil boom. Oh, yeah. So back then, that's where all the Shell Oil executives moved their families. It was a little enclave north of Houston. Now it's the size of 4 cities. It's crazy how big it's gotten.
Yeah. And then the last comment here that we'll show is Cindy says, I live in Odessa now. Yes, the party's cool. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. So, hey, bottom of the hour, we want to show the Pulse magazine real quick. So this is the new Pulse from GSG. So this has some brand new information. I think it just came out this week, didn't it, Alan?
It did. I saw it this week.
So there's a lot of new information in here, including the new WillFlex Rival, which is their new low cure if you're doing athletic stuff. I believe this is replacing the Top Score, right? That I know, right? And so that's really good. And if you're doing a lot of athletic stuff, jerseys and whatnot, this is some really good ink for you guys to use. And then there's just all types of new information here. So where you get this is right here at the GSG website, and it's got to load here for a minute. There it is. And then right here, there's this moving banner, and then a Pulse magazine will pop up here in a minute. Just click that, and then you can get that going, right? So anyway, thanks so much for GSG for sponsoring our show. We really appreciate them. And so back to our discussion. Our third topic today was, if I remember, was this one, and we mentioned it a minute ago, looking for new writers, right? Yep. So Marcia, what does that mean? What if you've never written before?
This is why you have good editors, because you have the technical. I've pulled a squeegee a time or two in my life, but I'm not a screen printer or an embroiderer or a digital decorator. So we rely on their expertise, and don't mess with that because I don't want to mess up any facts. But we're here as journalists to tighten, put it in perspective, maybe rearrange some paragraphs, but make you sound as good as you can. Without quite knowing every little detail about the technical process, because screen printing is very technical, as you guys know. It's chemistry, it's engineering, it's art, it's creativity. One of the things,
it's technical.
It is technical. To me, it is.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Marcia. Come on. All right. So, sorry to interrupt you. Now you lost your train of thought.
I did. I was about to say that.
I was being funny.
Oh, I was about to say something about the creative side of the industry. That's one of, I have such a passion for the printing industry. And one of them is because of the creativity and the art. Show me a screen printer that is not a musician. You know, we used to have, back in the 90s and 2000s, we would have a big day at the show. We'd go out to client dinners. We'd have a shenanigan or two in the lobby bar. And then there was a very secret squirrel society that would go upstairs. We were called the Upstairs Club. And people would bring their guitars and bongos and regale me with being able to sing, because I happen to have this very loud voice, which I know is a annoying and obnoxious to a lot of people, but I hate a mumbler because I'm interested in you and I can't understand what you're saying if you're mumbling. So I also have a deep voice like a man. Everybody out there that knows me knows my idol is Stevie Nicks. So they were kind enough to let me take lead vocals in our hotel suites. And so we had more fun back in the day. But what I love is the creativity, and so many people still have their bands. Ryan Moore, it's a rumor that I've heard. I don't know if it's true. If anybody from Impressions Expo is online and can correct me or clarify, but I heard that they're the act this year at Long Beach Expo. Ryan's band's going to be playing. So it's just so great. And I was talking to Mike Fresner the other day, and Scott has a Pink Floyd cover band. Yep. He's playing all over Arizona. He sent me a little clip, and Scott's just as good as forever has been, and he's drawing great crowds. Looks like a rock concert. So it's just so cool to see people keep both passions, you know.
Yeah.
And artists, you know, people are great artists. Some Andy Anderson, I mean, the king of four color process printing, and the way he does airbrushing on motorcycles. If you follow him on Facebook, he's always putting up really cool stuff. So I just love being around the creatives in the industry, because having, like I said, my dad's background, and I just didn't have an analytical mind. So I knew I'd never be a doctor or a lawyer, be in the medical profession, or be an accountant. I wanted to use my brain in journalism and my talents as a writer, and then going on to be an editor, to kind of shape who I was going to become for a career.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, nervous lull. That was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No,
So Frank says, awesome. Probably know where Splendora is. Talking
Oh,
about
yeah. I used to hang out in Porter and Splendora and New Caney.
Simon says, we lost some great people today. Very last few years, at least with Marcia, we have one awesome person staying in.
Thank you, Frank.
Right?
Simon, who do we lose today?
He's in general in the last.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then Cindy says, I have to say it every show, I love GSG.
Yeah, Mark Granberry and his team have been so supportive over the years of me, and they're just great people doing great things. And I'm always blown away at how big their booths are at the show.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
And Greg says, writing for an industry publication will make you a better professional. The editors will make you sound like you know what you're talking about. That's 100% true.
But you do.
And Chris says, right here, I am not a musician.
All right, we're buying you a guitar for Christmas.
Well, hold on. See, I'm not a musician, but I don't know if you saw when I moved my camera. I used to say I was the only one to have a #1 record in the industry, and that's because I managed the band that went #1 on Billboard.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Wow.
You're not kidding. It's true.
It's 100% true.
Wow, cool.
So it was, in fact, Greg and I were at a conference where we were on a committee together, and everybody had to write down what someone doesn't know about you. And Greg leaned over and goes, I know what you're writing. I go, I bet you don't. And I wrote that down, #1. Now, Brett Bowden was in there too, who actually used to play for bands and toured with the Rocket Summer and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I and everybody was guessing, they know I used to be an ordained minister and stuff like that. But I flipped it over to Greg of what it is. I go, I have a #1 record on Billboard. And they were looking it up, and it was the band The Great Transparency. And we were the first independent Christian rock band to have #1.
Oh, that is so awesome.
So that's my deal.
And speaking of Greg, he's got a little punny thing here where he says, it's amazing what you'll find coming out of your mind's eye when you start the editorial journey.
Well, and that is so right what you said about if you want to write and stuff, don't worry about your writing skills, because my writing skills are atrocious. And when I first started
barely talk, let alone.
Oh, absolutely. This is what we love, ChatGPT. No, I'm kidding. But when you write, I remember Mark Buchanan from the old Printler magazine was the first one to get me, and I said he wanted me to write.
Did it ding? I thought I'd turned my phone off. It's still dinging.
That's all right. It's coming through your computer. Okay. But I said, Mark, I'm not a writer. It's my worst subject in school, in high school, was English. And he leans close to me. He goes, I don't need you for your writing capabilities. I need you for what you know. Yeah. He goes, if you could write and we're a journalist, it's so funny. He just goes, what the hell would they need me for?
Yeah.
It was so awesome. So you write it out. I tried to, James Ortolani and I would laugh. I try to get it where it's at a 5th or 6th grade level. send it in to the editors. They change it up. They send it back. I'm going, okay, I like what you said, but we got to change it for content and everything for technical. And they will make you look like you're way smarter than you are.
We do our best.
Yep. It was awesome.
I've always said, if you can talk, you can write.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just so the way I've always thought about it is I'm explaining it something to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So there's somebody in my head that whatever article I'm writing about, I'm thinking about that person, and I'm just, here's what you need to know, Fred. So.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hey,
speaking of James real quick, shout out to him. He was one of the first people I met in the industry at the Philadelphia Printed Sportswear Show back in 1988. And to hear he was one of the first people I called when he decided to go back to Hicks and got that opportunity. And it's so great to see him back where he belongs, full circle. Not that he didn't have great careers at Wilflex and Stalls, but it's great that, people are we're all kind of coming full circle again.
Yep, absolutely. Right. And you know what? In the GSG Pulse, there was the Hicks Spectrum LED exposure unit. Little shout out for James and Hicks out there.
Great. So I need a press release on that, James.
Yep.
That's great. So Ghost is here from Sweden. Hey, Ghost.
Hey, Ghost.
And Chris says he has a saxophone, but just no time to relearn it.
Okay, you count then. You count.
Christine says this industry is a great place for creatives. I always say that I'm a bard of the industry because I don't do any of the things, but I can listen to others and tell their stories. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mark says my cookbook is in publishing. Sorry, no soundtrack.
Oh man. I can't wait till your cookbook.
I want an autographed copy, Mark.
I do too.
If he doesn't stop putting his fabulous dinners on Facebook, and the good thing is him and his wife Emily are great friends of mine, and they don't live that far from me now. They just moved to a new house and haven't invited me over, Mark. But he's cooked. One time Cal King was in town for the Fort Worth show, and so we both went over there. I took my oldest son Dylan, who's 33, and we just had a great time because Mark is a fabulous cook.
Absolutely.
That's great. Glenn says Mark B was my editor back in the day and made probably my stuff read great.
That's why you need an editor.
And you know what? I told Glenn this. Glenn was when he wrote for Printwear, he was one of the guys that I loved reading his stuff, and I told him later on the inspiration of how I write and stuff like that. So, but he's in wide format now. So Marcia, there you go.
Definitely. Yeah. Like I said, there's my email, my new email. Reach out to me or I'll look you up on LinkedIn and get yours. It's going to take me a while, the first week to get things.
You haven't even started your job yet, by the way. I don't think everybody understands that. That's Monday.
That's right? Monday. Yeah.
This is the pre-job thing, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, so Ray Smith, by the way, Alan wants you to spell atrocious without looking at.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what spell check's for. Use the tools, man. Use the tools you got. Work smarter, not harder.
Cal says, I'm right there with you when it comes to writing, Alan, but people like us have a lot to say.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes too much, because it's helped me now as I wrote over the years. You can get too wordy. And that's where editors really help you.
Right. Simon says, I remember penning an article on adhesive referred to a Star Trekian fungus. The editor said, are you sure? I said, yep, leave it in. I got the list of comments and the phrase people related. Exactly. And this is why ChatGPT can't work because we have goofy things that we want to put into our article that make it our article. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's great, Simon.
I just read your article that you just wrote for Screenprinting Magazine on AI, Marshall, and learned a lot because we talked about it the other day on the phone. And I was mad at AI for a long time, but also I've been talking with Michelle Moxley, who does the AI on the graphics end. I'm going to be tapping her to write some on those topics. And so I'm trying to embrace it. I had to lick my paws a little bit there being a career journalist because it started with the internet and all of a sudden everyone's a citizen journalist. Everyone's got an opinion and they're throwing wrong information out there left and right. So then you've got AI taking over writing articles for you. It's just like, okay.
Yep. We say everybody's an expert behind a keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah. They're keyboard warriors.
Yep.
Right. Greg says editors clean content up and convey what you meant to say, not what you actually wrote.
You know what? The very first article I wrote, the best comment I got on it from a couple people. The editors helped me, but it was almost a self-perspective type article of where the industry of say 3 things I wanted to remind people of.
Mhm.
And I had some humor in there and I didn't know how to go. And the editors, a couple of them from Printware said, Alan, we could actually hear you laughing. And that was your humor. It was perfect. I don't know. It's still one of my favorite articles.
Yeah, we like to keep the personality and the voice
Yep.
of the writer in because so many people know y'all. And don't ever want to take that away because you don't want to be just a dry technical publication.
Right.
You want to really have the personality in there.
Yeah. So when I write, I always like a little joke in there. And you're right, Alan. I'm always giggling to myself over it. And it has to please me first. If it doesn't please me, somebody else isn't going to enjoy it.
Well, we think we're hilarious.
Well, and then you would write things. So the last article I wrote for Impressions, it was on emulsion. It was called The Small Things. And I actually put, I took back the veil behind the scene and I actually put all emulsions work no matter who the manufacturer is. And it's usually using the wrong product, the wrong way with the wrong right source, the wrong coating and the wrong that. Other than that, they all work. And I was working for an emulsion manufacturer. I got in trouble for saying that and publishing it, but I didn't care. Probably why I'm not with them now.
Yeah.
But it's just true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing real quick on writers and writing. As an editor, you have to be very careful to keep that church and state separation as a journalist. So we never run things that are infomercials, things like that. You have to really write it as an unbiased opinion on what you're talking about.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm. David says the hardest part is writing the first one.
100%.
Or getting started, Davis. Yeah.
Charlie's here. Good morning.
Charlie, one of my oldest friends and mentors.
Yeah, I got to go. Ironically, catching a plane to Dallas, Fort Worth.
Well, Ray, I'll pass you in the airport. I'm catching a plane to Atlanta, so I'll meet you in the air.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say safe travels, Ray, but let's just hope the pilot has a safe travel and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Alan, the great comment about maintaining the writer's voice.
Yep.
Glenn says editors correct readability but maintain the writer's voice. Everybody,
good editors do. Bad ones don't. It's hard for them.
All your silent letters. Why can't you hear pterodactyl go to the bathroom? Because the P is silent.
It's pterodactyl. Yeah. That's awesome.
The voice is the great editor's ability to maintain the writer's voice.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then the small things. Marshall can't relate. What? I can't relate.
Well, rude. You have to take it out back with him at the next show.
Yeah, well, I think he's referring to that he's short. So
yeah.
Shorter. He's not short, he's shorter. So.
Well, most people in the industry are because you're a tall drink of water, Marshall.
Yeah. All right, cool. So where are we? We got 15 minutes left. Just enough time probably to get to the last topic, which is what? Long Beach, right? So So what's going on in Long Beach, Marcia? What are you looking forward to while you're there?
I can't.
When are you coming in? What are you doing while you're there? Do you have an itinerary already?
No, I'm coming in Thursday. I'll be there through most of Sunday. I got to catch a plane about 3:00. But I'm looking forward to going around and seeing a lot of old friends, finding out some of the new technical things going on in the industry, particularly on the digital end and screen printing end with inks, especially. Lots going on with low cure inks. Get a little more versed in that from what I've learned over the last 3 years, just freelancing. And then just barging into booths and meeting new people in the marketing department that can hook me up with technical experts so we can get some of those new voices in there. You know, screen printing has a very long esteemed reputation. They've been publishing for 70 years. Big Picture has been publishing for 30 years almost. And so both have won numerous editorial awards over the years. And in fact, screen printing, I know, I'm not sure about Big Picture yet, but screen printing has won several Neil Awards, which a lot of people don't know about. But those in magazine journalism, they're the Oscars. And to get one of those, it's like being inducted into the Academy if you're a screen printer or a digital printer. It is so prestigious. And I've never been on a magazine that's won a Neil Award. So I'm just so honored to carry on the legacy that Adrian and Tomas and Steven started, and all the other editors that worked with them, and the designers and the executives and production people, kind of carry on that legacy. I'm not here to reinvent the wheel, but I am here to, continue that success and that reputation and help elevate the brands to the next level for sure. Increase.
You're not here to reinvent the wheel, but you're going to put some new air in the tire.
Yeah. Yeah, get some new readership. So really want to extend our reach. They're doing some podcasts. Andy McDougall does a podcast twice a month for
That's
Screenprinting Magazine. I know Adrian had done some podcasts and webinars. They also have great programs like the Women in Screen Print Awards that were just celebrated at Printing United in October. The Unite program. Big Picture has Women in Wide Format Awards. So I'm looking forward to learning more about those programs and helping showcase those experts who have really found success in the industry and celebrate their contributions.
Mm-hmm. So what are you most excited about learning, Marcia?
The latest and greatest. I've learned a lot about DTF over the last 3 years, but I want to learn more about DTF workflow, and that's one of the things I want to cover in the magazine. And actually, I got that idea from you and Davis last week in his guest appearance. I wrote when Matt Danford was briefly editor after Adrian left this summer. I wrote an article for Screen Printing on adding DTF and DTG to your screen printing business. And so to my knowledge, they haven't written a lot on DTF yet because it still is just ever evolving at rapid speed. But there's a lot of challenges coming along with it, particularly a lot of those machines coming out of China at first, and I think still are. And so you're having this maintenance problem, this service problem. You can't get help when you need it, and you're down on production when your machines are down. So just learning a lot more about, and I mentioned low cure inks and some of the specialty inks Mark tells me are coming back, even high densities coming back.
Very much.
It's always amazing. ETF, European t-shirt factory out of Istanbul, used to do a lot of high density printing for the Impressions Awards. And it would always amaze me. I did it a little bit when I was there. I went out with Charlie and Susie Toblieb, and we just had a wonderful time. I learned a lot, but pulling a squeegee hundreds of times with that ink as it builds up and up and up, it's just amazing what you can do with it. So I know it's really been refined over the years, so I'm anxious to see where it's now.
That's why you need to get Hurley to throw that in, right?
Okay.
So, by the way, Greg says, Marcia, it'd be great to see the Screen Police again. Hint, hint, hint.
Okay, now this is where you're Johnny Carson stumping the band because I'm not familiar with it. So, challenge number one, find out what that was.
Richard Greaves with the Screen Police, and he had an article.
Yeah.
He had a column.
Okay, cool, good.
Was that there, or where was the Greaves on Garments at? Was that Screen Printing?
That was Greaves on Garments was in Screen Printing.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay, good. Yeah, Richard, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. And Christine says, love the Women in Screen Print Awards. I know several amazing women who've won one. We do also, Christine, and we love the fact that that you guys are doing that. So that's great, Marcia. And then Marcia, maybe you can help Alan with his blog project. I think it's podcast, by the way. It's not his blog. Right. So
you know what? He's not on. I hate Brian Bufka right now. Even though he must have put that, he's just stirring the pot. He's Brian's influence has moved over the pond to Sweden, and he's corrupted Costa now.
Yeah, so, it's all good. It's all good.
I love you guys.
Yeah,
I saw that. I don't know if you saw. I started shaking my head before I came up. I'm like, can't believe this.
So Marcia, you start work on Monday, right? I can't remember the last time I started a new job, right? So. Right now, like you're raring to go, whatever. What's your first week gonna be like?
First day is Matt Danford. Before he left 2 weeks ago, he was kind enough to send me a gazillion emails on things, writers, production schedules, media kits, deadlines, budgets, things like that. So I was at the time using my Derryberry Media Communications email. So I've got to forward all those emails and go through them and all that, but then hit the ground running because Big Picture is on deadline and Screen Printing is coming up. Big Picture is a printed magazine, so you really have to stick with those deadlines. You have a little more leniency when you're a digital magazine like Screen Printing if you've got to move your production dates a week or, and then getting together with all of these new people that want to write and I want to write and meeting new people at Long Beach with great ideas. And so plotting out the rest of the year as to what we're going to cover.
Yeah. That sounds like the first 15 minutes of your new job are covered.
Yeah. And I'm working remote. I told everybody, I told Alan and Marshall before we got here, not only did I put makeup on, I'm actually wearing matching pants, not sweatshirts or shorts, because I'm headed to the airport after this, and all transparency. So that's the only reason I got pants on.
Yeah. Well, we're happy that you're fully clothed, Mark.
Thank you. I do my best. It's a gift to the industry that I'm fully clothed. Believe me.
All right. Well, great. And anything that you want to tell everybody while we wrap up here?
Yeah, I just want to say I'll see you all at Impressions Long Beach. I look forward to seeing old friends, like I said, making lots of new friends. If you don't know me, come up, introduce yourself, shake my hand, spy on my badge. If you don't know what I look like, give me a hug. I'm from the South. I'm a hugger, but if you're not, I won't touch you. Don't worry. But I'm really just looking forward to that excitement that Long Beach kicks off every year. You know, it is the international show for Impressions Expo. I got to keep that straight. And then you end the year with Printing United. And so it's just two great, huge shows that are opportunities to really learn where the industry is going, where it's been the last year, where it's going to go for the next year. So I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody there. And don't be shy. I'm dying to meet you because I'm an incredibly, insanely, fiercely loyal person. And if our worlds collide, you're my friend forever.
Yep.
So
yeah. All right. We got some comments here. So Mike says, hey, my tree is with Brian Bufka, right? Inside joke. Simon says, is screen printing staying with the print format? Are they planning to go all the way mini and be digital only? You guys are our digital only.
We already are digital only, Simon. Yeah.
Which means you can have 1 million articles in there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. You know, that's the other thing, because you get limited on folio because there's an add to edit ratio folio in the publishing world that you have to stick to when you're printing. And so when you have digital, I haven't checked with the group content director yet, but on page counts for screen printing. But you get to go further with it and have more topics and more articles and really broaden your expanse a lot.
Right.
Wim says, thanks, y'all. Appreciate you. You're welcome.
You.
Greg says, add Michael Woolbright to your potential writer list.
All right, Greg, email me because I'm going to forget all this.
He's watching. So, Mike, hey, can you email? Let me get the thing here. Here's the email address. So, Mike, email Marcia, and that way we can connect you guys.
Good.
And then Glenn says, see you there.
See you there.
And Mr. Tobleed says, Marcia, visit me in my workshop on Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
By the way, Charlie, happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hanukkah started yesterday. So if you're anyway, so all right, well, cool. So very happy for you, Marcia. And
Thank you. I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah.
In Long Beach, it's going to be good. Marshall, you're speaking there. I'm speaking there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What are you talking about, Alan? And when is your class?
It's intro to auto reclaim. Easy Way is going to have in Blue Water going to have our largest booth. It's a 20 by 24 there. Some new machinery. So stop by. But it's intro to auto reclaim, and I'm pretty excited about this because with automation, it's not just for big shops. It's smaller ones. There's semi-automation. There's ways to do it. It's all about labor. And so it's just letting people know what's out there and being available.
Right. When is your class? When is it?
Saturday. I'm not sure what time.
Hey, so my class.
Speakers used to get mad at me for giving the 8:30 slots. So I hope it's not at 8:30.
So my class also is on Saturday. It's at 1:00.
Oh, good.
And it's an advanced mid-journey class. So.
Oh, good.
And so if you're playing around with mid-journey, or even if you haven't started, you could probably come learn something. And I did a video promo for them a couple days ago. So
good.
For impressions. Yeah, I need to get all my stuff in and start promoting it pretty quickly.
And I still need to design the presentation. Haven't you started?
I have it. I did one similar to it, but I got to redo it and update it and all that. I haven't done that yet.
But let me tell you, my how I see trade shows is I like to hang out with different people. So I want to have breakfast. I want to have lunch. I want to have dinner with you. I want to go get a cup of coffee. I want to grab a sandwich, whatever. Even if you don't want to do a meal, you just want to meet for 15 minutes over here about the thing.
Yep.
Hit me up, right? And I probably, when I do a trade show, I bet you I probably talk to, I don't know, 500 or 600 people by the end of the week. And I want to know all about you. I want to see how I can help. I want to introduce you to people that you need to meet, whatever. Let's do it. So, you know.
Yeah, me too. I would love if anyone wants 15 minutes or a little tete-a-tete. I'd love to meet you somewhere on the show floor and just kind of pick your brain and find out what your successes are and your challenges. I'm also looking for people to do shop profiles on. I think it's very important because if you're in a small town, particularly, it's so competitive. And a lot of times you're not comfortable talking to the guy down the street. So that's where the trade shows come in for networking. It's an excellent opportunity. When I do go into the suppliers and manufacturers booths, it's very quick to go in, introduce myself, exchange business cards. We'll follow up later because those guys are paying for their booth space to sell. And I've never thought it's been fair of a journalist to go in and try to conduct a full hour's interview and take that away from them. So manufacturers, beware. If you see me coming, don't hide behind your displays. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I just want to meet you.
Yeah.
Marshall, before we leave, and not to get off topic, we did not talk about about the contest going on with GSG.
Oh, how did we skip that?
I don't know.
Hold on, let's do that real quick before we go, because time's running out, y'all.
Yep, not there.
So I got the thing right here. That's the prints that pop. Okay. So this is a contest that GSG is doing in partnership with Avian Inks, right? And you can win up to $2,500. And here are the details: is you have to provide 6 samples, send them in. Here's the address, attention Mark Sodonic, right? Here's the address right here. And what they really want you to do is goof around, do something really cool with at least one of these inks. And there's a lot of selections here, right? Do something really fun and unique, and, you know, make sure it's perfect because we're looking for stuff, right? And then send it in 6 samples. And then you've got to get that in by December the 22nd, which is coming up. Okay. So don't forget, you got shipping time involved with that, right? So I'd say probably next week you need to get that sample out, right? And I think it's going to be really great. And let me tell you, even if you don't think you're going to win, this is something you should do anyway because it's going to make you better.
100%.
And here's how you do it. I want you to put into your system, I want you to make a sample job just like for a client, and I want you to schedule it, schedule the art, schedule the screens, schedule ordering the shirts, schedule the print, just like you do for a normal job. And this is how you get it done. If you wait around to when you have a minute, you're not going to do it.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you're worried about afraid of special effects, go look at the videos that Mark Soldonic's been doing for GSG. He's been doing them.
Amazing.
He has been doing a ton of them every week on different special effects, and it's not hard. It could be one special effect and just to jazz up a print. So
yeah,
take a look at that.
And look at the selection here. A lot of this is just metallic ink or or stuff you're already using. But there's also, if you want to try glow in the dark or some sort of different base or whatever, this is how you do it. Just like get it done, right? And so anyway, good thinking, Alan. How did we not do that? I don't know how.
Because we're new at this. We've only done it 185 times, so 86, and we still don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, well, we're rookies. We'll get it. I think our next show we'll get it right. What do you think?
Are y'all going to be broadcasting live from Long Beach at GSG's booth like you have been?
We have that scheduled that far ahead, so
we don't know what we're doing. So both of us are.
You just got done telling the printers to schedule out their prints, and you people haven't scheduled.
Well, we had it's a
no more Marcia.
Thing.
Yeah.
So I think that the thing here is there's more to it than us.
Well, this is true. We think it's all about us, but there is that little company called GSG that is kind enough to.
Well, it's that, and then mine and Marshall's time too. What's going on? So we haven't, and truthfully, we haven't even discussed it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're trying to pretend we know what we're doing, but
we don't.
I don't know if you know this about us, but this isn't our real job. This is what we do just for frankly fun, So we handle this when we need to handle it, you know. So. All right, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. Have a fantastic weekend. And, you know, we'll see you guys next week. Any last minute comments from you guys?
No.
I just wanted to say I will see y'all in Long Beach. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun to kick off the year with such a dynamic, energetic show. So thanks for watching, and thank you guys for giving the opportunity. And let's all go out there and make some magic today.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. All righty. Hey, thank you for watching. We'll check you guys next week. Thanks, Marcia. Appreciate you.
Hang with us. Don't go away, Marcia.
Okay.